Yay, okay, we're on. Hey,
We
welcome
did it.
to another episode talking about Last of Us, episode 5. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Sonia, and we're right in the middle.
We are right in the middle. Yes. And
I'm saying that because I'm going off of you saying there's 10 episodes.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're yeah. This one was shorter. This one I saw is like 45 minutes. And I'm in a new area for Visceral because apparently I did a bad job last time, but I thought I was done. The manager disagreed.
Oh, they sent you. I didn't know that a demotion came with
No,
a
I
different
chose
area.
a new
That's funny.
place.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to do like a mining thing because I feel like maybe I'll do that. I think next week we can, if you want, can also do Murderbot.
Okay. Well,
Right
that starts
after.
next week already?
It's this Friday.
Okay. So I'm definitely going in not reading. I like that though. I like that.
But yeah, so I think they're doing 2 episodes this run for Murderbot. But I heard, and I'm not really sure how true this is yet, that they are only 30 minutes long, so it's not like so the first week will be like an hour if they're only 30 minutes long. And then the next, it's not like a super time investment, it seems like. But I'm excited for it. So, what did you think about episode 205 of The Last of Us?
Dare I say it was fine? No, you know what? It's not a bad thing. I think it was fine. I even texted you that I didn't even have like that much to say about it, but thinking about it, maybe I do.
Maybe you do have thoughts?
I don't know.
I have thoughts.
Okay.
I don't think I have deep thoughts. Like, I'm not gonna Eugene theory this episode.
There's nothing to really theorize. The
No.
only, I guess we have the spores. That's the biggest
Yes.
takeaway. I love the introduction.
The Spores are back in town.
And I will say, I'm going to eat my words because I know that but also I was very upset that we didn't have spores from the beginning. But I take it back. This episode made me take that back.
I can see where you're coming from. I wish we had sorts. I don't necessarily disagree because I do think what it did was allow Ellie to get away with things. And I really, really love how they set that up in the beginning.
See, for me, it has nothing to do with Ellie, really. I love that we're getting them like at the same time-ish that the stalkers are being introduced because it feels like the virus is evolving and it feels like it's adapting to the changes of the world. It's like the people are. So we're getting a sense of, hey, no, you don't get to live in this world and adapt because the threat is real, it's changing, and it's never going to be safe again because as every time you learn and adapt, the virus is going to learn and adapt. And I think that's such a fun new way to get invested in the virus as a whole.
I wonder what that would like in terms of Ellie's cure. What that means.
That's definitely another layer.
Because with her gone, what is there like if you needed to outright kill her for this, what capabilities do we have to also adapt? You know?
And is her immunity going to change? I mean, I don't see why it would. I'm not an immunologist, but yeah, I think it's established that she's just immune, but I think it opens up a lot of fun, interesting questions, which the show obviously doesn't really have the time to explore, I don't think, but I just think that I take back my criticisms about it, period.
I am glad they're back. I like how they were introduced. I do still kind of wish we had it. But I get what you're saying. Like, it makes sense. And I really think maybe they would have had to find another way. Because what happened was they set it up in the beginning of the episode with Hanaran. Is that what that lady's name is? I guess Isaac usurped her, but she seemed to have been in charge of the wolves before Isaac joined.
Well, I don't think
the white lady.
I think they were just a neighborhood watch at that point.
I'm pretty sure there was like wolf stuff on the background in that scene.
Ooh, I'm gonna go back and watch. I guess yeah, maybe they were like the wolves when they were.
But they weren't like
the little pups.
They weren't. They weren't the wolves in charge. They were still like their little ragtag group, you know. Whereas like now they're the occupiers. Funny how that happens.
It's so sad, and like she never seemed like the idealistic little, I guess, young man that Isaac changed into a hardened warrior. Like, she was introduced already kind of haggard and weathered by the virus in life. But it's just so sad to see people all these years later looking so miserable.
Yeah, like they got into power and got into another war. Oh, but you know what I was like? I forgot to mention this when we were talking about when Isaac was introduced. So the story that douchebag Fedra guy was saying, that was their introduction. That was the start of the Seraphites. Because it was some religious guy giving out pamphlets. He was like, I don't know. They were like, what was it about? He's like, I don't give a shit. I don't know. I think that was just the Seraphites. But, so the way they set it up in the beginning was, you know, they knew that's how they found out about the spores. So that's how like nobody gets to go in and out of that area. So now, so when we to jump way ahead to the end where it's Ellie and Nora, and Nora's like, there's a intruder, shooter, so they know there's somebody that's not a Seraphite because Ellie was shooting like a crazy person. Not that I blame her. And so I'm like, oh, Ellie just gave it away. They're gonna know she's there, but now they know she's in the basement, so they're gonna assume she's dead.
Oh, for sure.
So I was like, oh,
I don't think she has to worry about that.
No. So I was like, oh, that was smart. That was a way for her to like basically blow everything up and still get away with it.
And then remove, quote unquote, the threat. That was actually, I don't think Ellie planned it, because we're seeing that Ellie's not necessarily the 10 steps ahead person, but it worked out in her favor.
That is interesting, isn't it? That's another thing I noted, how they're just kind of making a point to show Ellie's strategic incompetence. Is maybe how I would put it. And I'm not really sure why they're making her kind of bro-y.
I guess I did get that vibe. Is it bro-y though? I guess it's kind of bro-y. You know what it is? I don't necessarily think it's bro-y. I think they're making a really big effort in the show. And I really try to talk about like the show, or I try to make the conversations focus more on the show. But I think that this is an important distinction with Ellie versus like game Ellie and show Ellie, because game Ellie does have a slightly different personality, even in terms of like how she dealt with Nora in a way. Like she wasn't that bro. She wasn't as caustic, I would say, as show Ellie. So I think it's they're taking show Ellie, or like Bella's take on Ellie is a little bit more bratty, although we're kind of seeing that dissipate a little bit. It's a little bit more sarcastic, and then the show is making an effort to show that Ellie and Joel are kind of the same person. We saw it in that conversation between Tommy and Gail, and I think the combination of the two is giving us bro.
See, I guess I never thought of Joel as bro.
Because Joel doesn't have Ellie's talk backness.
I guess. You know what? Yeah,
I guess that's...
I guess, you know what? When he was introduced, he was also more of the muscle compared to Tess. I kept wanting to say that.
Tess was the talker.
Tess was the planner too.
Right.
Because like when Tess got hurt, Joel wanted to just go after them and she had to stop him. So yeah. But he was more stoic, which is more game Ellie. Show Ellie. And
right, that's what it is.
I don't think it's a wrong choice, but show Ellie is more outwardly and vocally angry. Whereas game Ellie was simmering. Just a constant simmer.
Which kind of seemed a little bit more dangerous and, ooh, this is about to pop off a little bit. Not better, not worse, just different. And I'm excited, although...
I thought it really worked for the Nora scene. Because she was so calm.
The Nora scene? Yeah.
She was so calm at the end when speaking to Nora. And my first thought when I was seeing that was, this is the first time in the show, not just the season, that Ellie seemed intimidating to me. Where I was like, oh, she's scary.
When I was watching it, because I know that you and I have kind of been on different sides of the fence on Bella being able to carry this part of the narrative a little bit. And when I was watching that, I was like, yes, like,
yeah,
this is the Ellie that people were scared they weren't going to get. And Bella nailed it.
She did. You know what the weird thing is, what I was worried about, I don't know. I think she absolutely nailed it. Like, I completely agree. I completely bought her terrifyingness in that scene with Nora. What I have trouble with, I guess, is I'm not sure if Bella does a really good job of selling the outward anger. You know? Like that outward explosive aggressiveness, which I don't think she did it wrong at the end with Nora, but I guess from the clips of the trailer when I was watching before the show came out, and she was like angrily punching a bag or whatever, I'm like, that looks. I didn't buy that part, but I am more convinced now.
Counterpoint for that, the anger when Nora was holding her down while they were beating Joel, that came through. But, you know, Bella is 5'2", 5'3". There's always going to be an element of when it comes to her being outwardly like aggressive like that. But
I don't know if it's the size thing, because I know I've said I wish Abby was more character matching body size wise to Abby in the game. I don't think it's because I don't buy that smaller people can't be aggressively angry. I mean, I'm a smaller person and I think I can sell being aggressively angry. just fine. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know if it's just Bella's face. Like, Bella just has a soft face. I don't know how else to say it. It doesn't seem like an angry face to, you know, like a face of an angry person. That it makes, it's almost like a, I'm not trying to compare her to a kid because I know she's an adult and I don't think she looks like a kid. But it's almost like when an innocent person is angry, you're just like, oh, that's sweet.
Reminds me of like a Renaissance painting in just a very beautiful way with her just looking soft and innocent.
I can see that. Yeah.
Some people just have those features. But when she needs to turn it on, so far she's turned it on. But since you've mentioned Abby, do you think we're not getting her this season again?
No, I think,
or at least not until the very end.
I think maybe not till the end, because I thought about this too. I didn't notice it last time, and I guess I have to go. I'm assuming they're doing it because they're doing the Seattle day 1, day 2. They did Seattle day 2 on this episode.
I noticed that. Yeah, I picked that up this time.
In my mind, without giving too much away, the only reason they're doing this is because they're keeping the structure of the game. Because why do you need to know this?
Yeah, it has to be a marker for something.
And I think and we talked about this off mic, but I want to claim, well, maybe I'm jumping the gun. I think I'm completely right about flashback episode as being singular.
Hope not. It does, with the trailer, it gave that vibe where like this is the last time we're gonna see Joel.
Oh, I don't think it's gonna be the last time we see Joel. I think we still got one more.
So you think there's gonna be more than one flashback?
I think they're sticking with the structure to the game.
Okay.
Is how I will put that.
Okay, that's fair.
And also, speaking of other vague statements that we can make, Tommy is in Seattle.
Tommy. I was surprised by that. I'm not gonna lie.
It is different.
I thought we were going to get,
to in the game.
I think it makes sense.
I think it makes sense too.
Especially for like how this world has been established, how these characters have been established. I'm seeing a lot of chatter, or a fair amount of chatter, that people no longer see the show as an adaptation of The Last of Us. They just see it as having been inspired by, because of like all of these changes they made. And like one is that Tommy stayed behind versus like being the first one going. But with how this world has been established, I think it makes sense. I see what they're doing with Tommy's character, and I see what they're doing with the changes for Tommy's character in terms of what it means for this Ellie, this version of Ellie, if that makes sense.
So I think the thing that changed, and this is as far as I'm going to get into it, the thing that changed with Tommy is just how he got to Seattle.
Hope not. And they almost, if it doesn't change that, I think the change is also going to make it, let's say, okay, back up. If you think the only thing it changes is how he got there, I think even that sets it up for so much more of an emotional arc, because we did get Tommy trying to learn from his mistakes, trying to learn from Joel's mistakes, and trying to prevent Ellie from following those same mistakes, and trying to prevent himself from making the same mistakes. So finding himself here, depending on what his outlook is going to be, is going to hurt so much worse.
Well, if you remember, and I know you're trying to stay away from this, but I decided not to right now. But if you remember in the game, Tommy... That's so annoying. Tommy...
That's why I got demoted.
It isn't... It's glitched. No, it's gone. Okay. Well, that works. Tommy went to Seattle before Ellie to save Ellie. Right? He didn't... But when he was talking to Ellie, he didn't want to go. And she was the one that was like, what the F, Tommy? This is Joel. How are you not going to go? And the difference is they both knew Ellie was going to go. He just went before her rather than the whole council thing and him talking to Gail. So
no stopping her.
I still think him wanting to save Ellie is the motivation for his actions similar to Game Tommy. And what happens later just reverts him. It doesn't, you know. That's as far as
Sorry, I'm paying attention to the gore. No, it's just that with Tommy is so much more established game-wise.
He is.
Show-wise. And I think adding all of these layers onto him, showing how invested he is in Jackson, the fact that he even thought, because I did think when he was talking to Gail, I think there was a small fraction of him that thought he could save Ellie potentially by making her stay. Like, we know with who Ellie is, like that wasn't going to happen. But I really do think that he potentially had some hope, even if it was a naive hope, of like keeping Ellie and Jackson. And I'm not shocked at all that he came like on her heels. I just think with how he's been established, how they take his arc, it's set up to be so much more painful.
Yeah, I guess my thing is I think what's weird to me is people are thinking that this is the most adaptation The Last of Us is. I think season 2 is the most true to story than season 1, like true to game. There's like slight variations. There's like an added character here and there. But
a lot of people,
feel
and
like,
I would agree with you, but
I feel like the reason these episodes for us are fine and why you text going, I don't think I have much to say, is because there's not really much new to talk about that we didn't talk about when we played the game.
Which is where I'm standing at too.
Well, I'm saying they're wrong.
It's so hard talking about fandom, but it's like I don't understand why you and I often think we're watching completely different shows from everybody else. But apparently there's a lot of chatter that like the changes that they are making completely change all of the characters. And I agree, the changes that the show is making has forced characters to change, and we're going to be seeing the fallout of those changes and the consequences to these characters. But the character arcs are just becoming more interesting, in my opinion. I don't think they're changing the actual characters or their motivations or who they are. But who am I to disagree with the internet, although I often will and gladly do.
See, this is what I would like to know. If somebody happens to make it 24 minutes into this discussion, like one viewer, hopefully, or something that just happens to happen, like, and you think that, let me know what you think is so different. Like, this is going to be on YouTube. You can comment on it, whatever. If you want to go on Blue Sky Space Scripted, I'm there too. You can do that. Although, ooh,
get those angry,
I forgot.
typees out.
It doesn't, you don't have, see, discussions don't have to be angry. Disagreements don't have to be angry. Fandom. Disagreements don't have to be angry. We can agree, and if we can't, and if we can state our opinions and we still don't agree, what you can do on a completely fictional topic is agree to disagree.
That's not real. It's not going to change your life.
Is just agree to disagree. And then we move on. That's how life works, man.
The internet hard disagrees with you. I agree with you. I love having disagreements with people. They're very fun.
Until they get angry. Like, why are you mad at me?
All I think is that Abby had a good point in killing Joel. Why are you mad at me?
That's an interesting. See, I can understand Abby's point while not being Team Abby, you know, because like I get it, Abby.
Because fuck her.
You know, you still killed Joel, and I knew him before you, and I liked him before you, so.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah, and you didn't, and she didn't. She doesn't really do anything to make me like her more, you know, like to be like, oh. Well, you deserve your revenge.
You don't offer
more.
that much.
You know, you don't. That's. I can understand your position while still going, well, and now we're in a cycle. You can think your cycle should end with you, but that's what everybody thinks. So I'm not sure why you think you're so special.
Like the Seraphites, because holy shit, was their introduction this episode mind. I don't know if we're allowed to on your show, but their introduction or like scene in that was brutal and savage.
I think cursing wise, just not sailor, I think is the thing. I think incidental is fine.
I'll try to keep it to incidental, but I guess this isn't the first time that we're seeing the Seraphites be brutal, because we had
we didn't see it in action.
Broadcast,
we just saw the aftermath.
But we didn't see it.
Yeah. I have a question though. So is her name Hannah Rand, the white lady? When she was talking to Park in the beginning of the episode, she said the treaty might be broken. And I'm wondering, is that a leadership decision to not let them know that the treaty has been broken? Because it seems like it's not a just thing that happened. Isaac's out there torturing somebody. They're killing kids on a forest road. They're then in return or before, who knows? They're disemboweling them in a TV station and in the forest now. It doesn't seem like the treaty has just been broken. Because then Isaac was like, okay, yeah, you broke the treaty, I broke the treaty, you broke the treaty, who cares? Like, at this point, it's like, it's done. You know, there's no use in arguing on who's more at fault at this point, you know? So I'm wondering if, like, the regular wolves, the rank and file, don't know that the treaty has been. But then why are they killing Seraphites like they are if they don't know the treaty hasn't broken? Because we saw this episode as well that they had lined up, much like the Fireflies, not the Fireflies, sorry, Fedra in Boston, lined up and killed a bunch of tied up Seraphites.
I could see the wolves. Honestly, I can see any side, any group at this point that has been established. If you're in their point of view, you're like, oh, I get it from their point of view, which the show is doing wonderfully. I wouldn't be surprised if the wolves are and I mean, we know that they are withholding certain information. They obviously do the if you need to know, you'll know. So I wouldn't be surprised if the lower ranking wolves don't fully understand what's going on. All they know is the Seraphites are attacking. Because you don't want, like, what's going to work for the wolves, what's going to work for Isaac right now is having his soldiers being so mad at the Seraphites that they will kill them indiscriminately whenever they see them, kids including.
I feel like they've already been doing that, though. Like, I think whoever was the first one that broke the treaty doesn't, like, I agree with Isaac, it doesn't matter at this point. It's been broken. It's like, what are we doing about it now? And what it sounds like is war.
All out slaughter. Yeah, all out slaughter.
Which, you know, it's fucking human nature, it seems. So whoever broke the treaty, I don't think it was leadership. So I think either side, whoever started it or whoever didn't, it's the little whistlers walk in the woods or whatever that are like killing wolves, or wolves that have been killing Seraphites. And then now leadership is like, oh god. Well, I mean, and that's not to say they're not to blame.
And too many people have guns. That's what it is.
Or bow and arrows, I guess. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I just like, oh, we got automatic guns, and what do you guys have? It's like, you guys are still struggling, though. Like, what are you bragging about, Isaac?
Your dudes were still strung up. Like, you...
How did I guess they can't whistle.
I do think it's interesting, last episode that I guess we didn't talk about, how the person being tortured said that there were wolves that were becoming Seraphites, and there weren't Seraphites that were becoming wolves. I think that's more, as we saw with this episode, their cult mentality, and like leaving that is probably going to be a lot more mind messy than leaving the wolves. But it also gives a cool dynamic between the two groups.
I mean, I think wolves and Seraphites are two sides of the same cult coin, right? You know, like, or different sides of the same cult coin. Like, just one is more modern than the other. Isaac, as we saw with that Burton guy, the guy he recruited from Fedra, you know, he's kind of like insisting on this type of unquestioning loyalty, which is cult behavior. I'm not sure how much...
Outside perspective, though, I think I'd have an easier time walking away from the wolves. Maybe it would end with like a bullet in my head, but I think emotionally I'd have an easier time walking away from the wolves than I would the Seraphites. From an outsider's perspective, we're only a few episodes in.
I can see that in the sense of the Seraphites operate more as a family. So, like,
culty.
Dina... Families are cults.
Yeah. Families are traps.
So Dina mentioned the Amish, which, first of all, I forgot to bring this up last episode, but I'd like to bring it up now. How in the F does she know about who the Amish are? Like, are there a ton of Amish in New Mexico? Or even Wyoming?
There are textbooks. Girly
okay, so
Girly has shown us she can triangulate. She knows what the Amish are.
Who do you think people would know about more post-apocalypse? The Amish or what a pride flag is?
Okay. Well,
no, I'm not
with
saying...
the state of the world. At the state of our world.
I do not think anybody in the LGBTQA plus, if I missed a letter, I'm sorry, community, I don't think in the apocalypse they're gonna not be who they are or proud of it. Like, I'm not saying like they're just gonna be all waving around pride flags all the time or anything. I just think they've survived worse than apocalypse in current days.
Like, if you started in Utah, okay, you know what? I don't want to get into government politics here, but good point. But Dina is a smart girly. If somebody were to know about the Amish, it would be her. I believe. I bought into that.
Also, and not even that, like, they're not that far removed from, because they're like, what, 20 years removed? So who they were raised by, or who they grew up with, would still be around. So I'm just saying, I don't
be around, but stumbling upon people is also,
if they're telling her about Amish
different.
people, I think people who don't want to hide who they are going to tell her about gay pride.
That's very true.
That's all I'm saying. If she knows about the Amish, I think they should at least know what a rainbow flag is. So there's, I mean,
that was pretty wild.
I will accept it for the joke, which I think is the only reason they did it. Of maybe they're really optimistic.
Yeah.
I think in world building that is an incorrect. What would they know when? But yeah, like the Amish, the Amish. I don't know. Is it offensive to call them a cult? No, I mean they allow.
Probably a little bit.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what your view on religion is in general, right? But they do what I will give Amish credit for. They do allow their coming of age people to make a choice and to make an as informed choice as they possibly can by letting them experience it without needing to leave the community. To a certain point.
I don't get those vibes from the Seraphites.
No. Well, they scar their kids at like 5, apparently. So.
Right.
Like, I think the Amish are like, well, it's got to be a choice. The only thing is, if you make the quote-unquote wrong choice, you're not family anymore. Which.
Just kind of cool how we, from like you're following the wolves, you're introduced to the Seraphites by their slaughter. So you're kind of
sympathetic.
Introduced to, right. And then it's like, oh, no, look at how barbaric these people are too. It's very fun to see the push and pull of all this play out.
You know what it also made me think about how, I don't know, Seattle is just particularly fucked up. Because even Boston wasn't this bad. And they were like, Boston is a hellhole of occupation.
I think the best takeaway from this season so far is just that the joke of what is wrong with Seattle?
Yeah.
Like, what happened to you people?
Yeah, they're both crazy. I mean, and I guess it's like the story within the story is there are no right sides. And that's also the story
of the game
of the show, right? Like, you think these are
minus Ellie and Joel. I don't care what they did; they're right.
What is that one meme from the Broad City show? Like, I love you. You've done nothing wrong, or something like that. Something along those lines.
No, that's from Parks and Rec. But yeah.
Is it from Parks and Rec? I thought it was.
I'm going to claim it's from Parks and Rec.
I thought it was like Henry Winkler and the.
Yeah. That's Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec.
Is that Parks and Rec?
Don't at me if I'm wrong, but I am.
Well, at her. It's 90% correct. Curious on Instagram, and I don't know about Twitter or anything else, but But at her if she's wrong, and you don't have to at me if I'm wrong. We are hypocrites. But yeah, like, well, even so, like, even Joel understood what was happening. It's the whole thing. It's like,
he accepted his fate,
which is why it's like, Nora, be more like Joel.
But Nora also got it. I love that.
I don't know if
I
she
love
did.
that she kind of did the fake out.
No, she got it on her end, but when
I think she got it from Ellie's end. I just don't think she cared.
she was, I don't know. The impression I got when she was talking to Ellie, when she figured out who Ellie was, and she was like, "Do you know what he did?" And she was like, "I know." I thought her expression was then why are you doing this? Like,
I guess she expected more humanity in that instance.
It's kind of crazy, which I'm giving Nora the benefit of doubt, and I think they've implied this in the grave scene in the first episode. Nora doesn't know what they're planning to do to Ellie to get the cure. I think she just thought she was somebody that could give them the cure, and not that she'd had to die for it. Which I don't know if that would have changed her opinion, which maybe not. I think what I think it could have done, I don't think it would have changed her opinion. I think she'd still be on the side of, kill Team Ellie. But if she knew what Joel's relationship to Ellie was, I don't know if it
could be more understanding.
Right. Much like Ellie knows that Joel killed Abby's dad. Especially now because Nora told her. It doesn't change anything.
Like, go off, I don't care.
You know? But I think Nora would have been less incredulous at Ellie going, "Why are you doing this?" Or seeming like how can you do this if you know what he did? It's like, oh yeah, so we're all just continuing the cycle. Okay. Got it.
Because that could easily have been like flipped. Every part of this argument can be flipped on the other person. Again, cycles of violence. How do you break them? Who's gonna break them? Who's to say? Watch the show. But
the Asian guy in Jackson.
That's very true. But you know what? Everybody was like, "Shut up, dude."
You know what? I wonder if when Seth stood up for Ellie during the thing, I wonder if it was a feeling of like, if I don't know what this is gonna do, but if like you're in you think you're on a subject and Candace Owens agrees with you, and you're just like, oh god, do I have to rethink my position?
I'm gonna go have a sit down.
I'm gonna have to really think about something right now.
Yeah. Is it me?
Am I wrong? I think I could be now. But yeah, he's the only one. Well, I guess all the people in Jackson. But I don't think they voted because they didn't want to. He didn't want to continue the cycle. Everyone else voted because they didn't want to risk their town, I think. Most people, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't say everybody.
Makes sense, like, especially for the town that, like, Jackson is. My question with Nora, and I meant to go back and rewatch this scene in the game, and I didn't. But, like, with Ellie's, the slight changes in Ellie's characterization, because Nora is the first to go. Game-wise, Ellie obviously was on this, like, path of revenge and vengeance just the same, but there was this slight change in, I think she was a little bit more, not hesitant. She came in with a purpose. She was going to do it, but it took a different toll on her, and it, like, her emotional journey is a little bit different in the game versus show Ellie, who kind of has more of Joel's darkness in her. And like, did you have thoughts on that?
I thought I think Game Ellie in this section was more reluctant. To what she does at the end, the beating, right?
Right.
I think show Ellie, I didn't see that reluctance at all.
No, she came fully
She was like, oh,
prepared.
This pipe is very useful to me. And it's almost in the shape of a golf club.
Yeah, how fitting.
You know, so up until I guess that point, I do think the way Ellie was with Nora being so calm was the most game Ellie she's been.
Minus the Nora was kind of the stepping stone into, okay, am I doing this for like game version of Ellie, and in show version it's like, oh honey, we are 100% committed, like you are the first to go.
I mean,
like we're not holding back.
You notice when her and Dina are having that conversation before Dina tells her backstory, which is only slightly different than her game's backstory. I looked it up. What Ellie says to Dina is, you don't have to do this with me. Not we don't have to do this. So Ellie Ellie wasn't even considering, oh, I'm putting Dina in danger. Maybe we should go home.
There is no going home for Ellie.
Dina's in danger. She's pregnant. Maybe she should go home.
Even when Jesse comes, the thought of going home, it's like
I don't understand her little pissy contest with Jesse at that moment.
Human emotion. There's this dude, he clearly still, even if Dina loves Ellie, right, she still has love for Jesse. Jesse still has love for Dina.
But can we wait 2 seconds?
That complicates things. I don't think so, because they're kids of the apocalypse. This is just their world. Like, having a little insecure lover fight when there are 11 stalkers around, I feel like that's just a Tuesday.
I guess.
Like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, but there's some perspective there with that, but like, and also Ellie just made the decision that, I guess Dina's still there, but Ellie had that big epiphany of like, what am I doing? I'm putting you and our, which is child, in danger. And then she really does put Dina and their child in danger. Dina's about to die. Ellie's about to die. And the only reason they survived that is because Jesse came to save them.
You know, I did really like that. Ellie's really confident about what she can. I can get bit a lot. He's like, yeah, do you know what happens when you get bit a lot? You can also get ripped apart. And I really like how they kind of just showed that, like her hubris, right? Of it all, I was like, oh, that was really good. But I guess heightened emotions during that moment. I guess. You may have a point.
We think about things differently.
Well, I would hope so. I think this would be boring if we didn't. You'd just be like,
oh, I meant like us and apocalypse kids. Like, what we think is normal and how where and in what situations we discuss our love lives are going to be a little bit different.
I mean, I just don't think right when you escape in the woods. Hey, do you remember in the game how because because obviously in the show, Dina gets shot with an arrow. Did she get injured in the game?
She was sick and
no, she was just
very
pregnant.
pregnant.
Yeah, she was just pregnant. Okay, that's what I thought.
She is unwell.
I was about to say, I was like, I hate this baby.
Yeah, she is unwell.
I really don't. I'm not a fan of the baby. Nothing against babies, but
we hate babies.
I don't.
No, we don't hate babies. We just hate plots around babies.
I find it wholly unnecessary, and I don't think even if you follow the story exactly, you need a baby. I thought it was really I thought this whole storyline was really unneeded in the game. It just really annoys me in the show.
Why couldn't it have like upgraded a little bit by giving them a puppy?
Right.
Puppy
or,
in the time of apocalypse would have been so much better.
I'm just not I mean, you brought up Farscape last time, but like John and Aaron took a while to really like have any type, not any type, but like in the first season there was like moments. But it was almost like, we're in close spaces more
like quintessential will they, won't they?
But it wasn't you have bested me in this cell in the first episode. I am in love with you immediately. And now we are in love. I mean, they didn't have
yeah, so there was like the best way to start any ship is to make it slightly antagonistic in the beginning, in my opinion.
Right. She was like,
and then okay, spoilers for Farscape, which it's been, I don't know, 20 years, you've been warned. When they had baby, it was all the way at the end, and we didn't have to deal with it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, fine, go have your baby off screen, whatever, I don't care. Dealing with all of that, like the buildup of it, I just really don't like the trope of it, the implications of the trope, it's just so, there's only so much we can complain about it, but it's just so stupid.
I think with Dina hurt now, I don't really think we need to deal with it for a while. So, the body part up here.
I wonder what the choice was, and maybe just to have more of a reason than like, oh, she's pregnant, so she's sick all the time, whatever. Not that that's an invalid reason. Like, I've seen my friends pregnant. I know how rough it can get, but I wonder what the decision was behind making her injured on top of it, or if it just was, let's raise the stakes for Ellie, let's make her deal with her consequences more. I don't know.
I think they changed the timeline on the pregnancy. Like, I think she is more newly pregnant now than she was in game at this point. I'm not sure how right I am about that, but that's what I think.
I could see that playing out.
Because, they gave that false hope of her not being pregnant.
And the way we clung to it.
So much. I mean, to their credit, they ruined it pretty early on. I didn't have to live in that hope and build on it.
So what did you think about the trailer?
The flashbacks. It'll be interesting because I think it'll be hurtful.
Oh yeah,
to watch
that's gonna destroy us.
watching just that little snippet right at the end of, I guess, I don't know if it's Ellie remembering or what it is, whatever it is. Ellie waking up in her old bedroom when she was still living in-house with Joel, because apparently that's what she's doing now. Or what she did at some point, which I guess makes sense because she was like 13, 14. But it seemed to me in the game that she just moved straight into a garage. But anyway. And I mean, we saw a lot of it, right? So it's not like stating what part of it would be so much a spoiler, but it's just seeing. Do you know what else? Another. I'm trouble. I don't.
Trouble.
I have trouble staying on the singular thought without moving on to something else. I've been trying not to do that so much. Like, I have like section notes and stuff, but Joel looks good in the flashback. Like, it looks better than season 1 Joel.
I mean, Pedro Pascal just glows.
I mean, Pedro Pascal was season 1 Joel.
Yeah, but now he's in a happier season 2 flashback. Joel is a happy Joel, so of course happy Joel is going to look a little bit better than sad grumpy Joel.
I just thought it was worth mentioning. Like, he looked also younger, which
Botox in the time of the apocalypse.
Well, I mean, some people think you can take steroids in the time of the apocalypse, so I would be shocked. I think, oh my god. What's that? I don't know. I just think, I'm wondering if, I think next episode is going to be really emotional. I do think it's going to be a singular flashback episode. Because there's still a lot, because I think it's going to go through the history of how Joel and Ellie got to where they are.
Yeah.
And how they built their relationship after arriving in Jackson for the second time. So we can also see Nora's question of why are you doing this? Right? Or why are you doing this if you know what he did? Because she doesn't know that what he did saved her life. And that
or she thinks it was worth killing her over, which is also not invalid. Don't agree with her because I've been on Team Ellie longer. Who's to say?
Well, I don't think it would have changed her opinion of what he did was wrong.
Like, it would have changed her being like, the audacity.
Right. I think, if you know what he did, because I think in her mind, because first of all, Ellie was like a myth. I don't think she was in the know of it. I don't think she was in that group because Abby was pretty quick to shut that conversation down in the first episode of What If. So if she doesn't know even what if Ellie exists, then just the theory that she does, then I don't think she knows what they would have had to do for the cure. Again, I don't think it would have changed her opinion. I just think it would have, maybe she would have been more Joel of just do what you're gonna do. Like,
right.
Because she understands why Abby's doing what she's doing. And Abby's not doing it because he killed fireflies. Abby's doing it because he killed her dad.
Right.
Like, it's not about the cure for her. So, if she can understand that, I think Nora would understand the, well, then why are you doing this? It's like, it was basically
I'm just
my
sad
dad.
that all the flashbacks are coming at once.
Which
makes sense narrative-wise. Like, we need to know why Ellie doesn't care, but I just want more time with them, and I want more happy times with them, and I want it spread out.
This is the moment it happened in game too, right? Right after Nora?
I think, well, they're scattered, but that's when they kind of start. Because we don't get them all at once, but...
Oh, we don't. Yeah, you're right.
And I understand why a TV show can't do that, because like having a
especially
10,
if you're only
15 minute flashback.
Right. Well, and we only have 10 episodes, because this is the world we live in now. Which I think is the first sign of how we went wrong in society. I think
That's the reason we have COVID. I'm sure if you go back, you can map it somehow.
I think a show like Last of Us would really benefit from a multiple. Because even if they are following the structure of the game, I still think there's so much that I don't know. Like, it's hard to really get into it. But, like, assuming they follow the structure, the next act is the second act. This is the first act, and then there's a third act. Are they going to do the second and third act in season 3?
To say, because it's only confirmed through
season. Well, I mean, HBO's gonna renew it, but like, what are the logistics of getting everybody together again for shows like this now? Like, it's like before Standard was like everybody's on a 7-year contract automatically.
And now everybody's like, they're all on their 10 episode shows, multiple shows, makes scheduling super hard. Another reason why it's so stupid to not have 30 episode seasons.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised they got season 2 of Fallout done so quick. Because Walt Goggins and Ella Purnell are super effing busy. Like, they're in a ton of stuff.
I started White Lotus. I don't get it.
I haven't seen it. But he's also in Righteous Gemstones. Which I also haven't seen. I just know of it. And Ella Purnell, she's like a voice actor. She's a voice actor. She was also in like a TV show called Sweet Pea, which I think got renewed for a second season. She's still somehow also guesting in Yellow Jackets. Occasionally. Like, not a ton, but still. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the show in current form.
About Yellow Jackets or about The Last of Us?
Yellow Jackets.
I've only seen the first season.
It went, I don't think this is spoilers. It went more supernatural than I thought it was going to be. And I guess it's not what I thought it was. So I don't know if that makes it bad. It's just not what I was expecting. But I'm not.
I was hoping for, so I like hearing that.
I don't know. See, I like the. I guess I don't know if "like's" the right word. I would appreciate the idea of people forced to do these horrific things on their own than because of some supernatural force. Like, I feel like that's an out of your own actions. Where it's like, no, deal with you eating your friend.
Deal with the consequence of knowing what your friend's thigh tastes like, asshole.
Is it chicken or not?
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering. I would be really curious if the next episode is another fine.
I don't think it can be fine. I think because everybody that's working on the show loves the game, and we can see that in all of the attention to detail in the settings, which we talked about, over text, the way that they're careful with the changes to the characters. I don't know who's directing that episode, but given the weight of we're getting Joel back, even if it's just for a little bit, I think everybody understands the weight of what that's going to mean to people. I think it's going to be beautiful and haunting and painful. I almost, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, and maybe I'm going to end up super disappointed because the streak has been fine. I'm really hoping for a Bill level pocket episode.
I mean, I do think that's what I do think that's what I meant by like the dedicated flashback episode. It's just gonna be this little pocket of flashbacks of Ellie and Joel, and it'll I mean, I guess I'm just curious because it doesn't look like they're deviating. Oh, you know what I would be curious about with the flashbacks, and maybe this is a little bit of spoilers. I wonder if how to say I wonder how dedicated it is just going to be Joel and Ellie, because we also in the game learned a little bit more about the Fireflies. In the flashbacks, and I'm wondering if we're still gonna have that.
Hoping it's just Joel and Ellie.
I think it would be nice to learn a little bit how I mean, it was all part of it, right? Like the things Joel and Ellie's were doing is how she learned about it, though. But like, because right now the Fireflies.
Do you think? I was gonna ask if you think that Eugene is gonna be part of the flashbacks then.
Oh, my theory.
If it were to come out, it would be the flashbacks.
That's true. Do you think, if my theory is true, do you think Ellie knows? I think she does.
Oh, 100%.
Because
she knows.
Especially the look that she had when Jesse was talking about it in the pot farm.
Yeah, she knows. She was like, we killed him.
Because of my secret.
Yeah, Ellie absolutely knows. So I think next week we are in for a lot of very good moments, but they're also going to lead to very shattering moments, and I hope Eugene theory is confirmed or debunked, but hopefully confirmed.
I mean, that's why I posted the short of it yesterday. So I was like, what if they reveal something in the trailer? I want to get my theory out there before we see anything on screen. But they didn't. But I don't know. Sure where these go. I got dinged before. I think it'll be interesting. And, you know, this Friday is Murderbot. And that'll be a lighter show, it seems. More of a... I don't know if I would call it... I don't know if they're going to go comedy. I think they're going to go more lighthearted. So you can go from, like, Friday, Murderbot, and it's like, ha ha ha, nice, to deep sadness on Sunday.
I have absolutely no frame of reference for a Murderbot, so I'm very excited. And I'm going to try to keep it that way. I'm going to try to avoid everything and just come at it from a purely show watcher standpoint.
I think that'll be interesting to talk about too, because it is. I mean, I know you don't like audiobooks, right?
No, this year I've gotten into them.
Oh, good. They became for a bit my, like, if I'm having like just, you know, like just one of those real crap days, it's just like nothing's good and I just need to listen to something. The Kevin R. Free, I just listen to Murderbot because, like, there's stuff going on, but it's just, what did somebody call it before? They called that, and I don't know if you've read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies.
Never even heard of that.
But it's like, I think somebody described them as competence porn. Where it's just like, these are characters in a story that are just competent at, like, the drama or whatever of the story isn't their mistakes, I guess, or their incompetence. And it's just kind of nice. It's just situations they have to deal with. And Murderbot's just
excited
like,
to get into it.
It's good, so. But yeah, so do you have Apple TV?
Yeah. Don't know. That is a question I will figure out in the next 4 days.
That's what it's on. So I think, you know what? I think I'm not done, but I'm almost done. It is about an hour long. The game was right. So I think let me look through my list or anything of if there's anything I want to mention before we go. Oh, you know what? No, I do want to talk about something real quick. I love the stalker part in this game. Not in in the show. When they went into that building, it looked like, you know how, like, you can always tell, like, especially if you're going to an office building in the game, you're like, stalkers are going to be in here. That's exactly how that building looked like when they were going in it.
It's like, I am not going in there.
No. So I think at most in the game, you dealt with 4 stalkers at a time. And to me, that was a lot. I was like, I can't deal with this. I'm going to have a heart attack.
One.
There was 11. If that was the game, if that scene had happened in the game, it would be like Alien Isolation. Like, I'd be in the closet, and that's where my game ended. Like, I can't get.
Do you
past
remember
this.
that part where it was like 2 stalkers, or maybe even like 3 stalkers, and then the regular infected, and then there was like a bloater also in that section?
Was this in the first game or the second game?
I think it was the second one. I'm like trying to, like, or was it Joel? I don't know. You know what? It was the first game. Never mind. Either way, whenever a stalker's involved, I don't want to go in the room. I know I'm dying 10 times. This section of the show, I think, was the most realistic to the game because Ellie was down and she was being ripped apart, which happened 22 times before I was able to move on in any section. So kudos to the showrunners for giving the TV folks a little glimpse of what it feels like to get through any section of the game.
You know what I really struggled with in the first game? The upside down part with Joel.
Yes, that was really hard. I was awful at that.
To this day, yeah. I'm like, I can't. Can I just quickly switch the game easy mode for this? I suck so bad. I can't aim worth shit standing upright. You think I'm gonna do this upside down game? Come on. Let's be real here.
My gun can't move that fast.
But yeah. I texted you this last night. The set design on this show is so top notch. I am sure, you know what, the general episodes might be fine. The set design and the settings and the just going into those scenes is, there's just such a, I hate to say it, visceral reaction from me when I see, like, when she was walking through the theater, when they were in the TV station, it's matching it so exactly. And I guess I'm guessing
the real music store,
they're real places in Seattle, even though they're not filming in Seattle.
No, so some of the sets they are building, but like the theater, I read an interview. The theater is a real theater in Vancouver that just happened to really look like the scene. I don't know. I don't really watch award shows, but I don't know if they give awards for this, but truly, whoever does the sets on this show, they deserve. A lot of people on this show deserve an award, but whoever does the sets deserves an award.
I guess what I assumed was in the game, when they were designing their sections, they were taking places from actual Seattle places. So it did make me curious of if, you know, where they were filming. So I did look it up this morning, and they do shoot in Canada for majority. So the set design is, if it's matching something in Seattle or not, I don't know. It matches something in the game, and it transports me back into that moment in the game, and it makes me also want to play again, which I mentioned it earlier. I think in a few first episode or whatever. I kind of struggled with it because I remember when the first season was coming out, I was like, do I want to play? I did want to play, and I replayed the first game, and it was great, and we did the podcast, and that was great. Want to hear our first season thoughts? 2 Fireflies on a Pod, and whatever podcast thing you listen to. And I think the first episode we had super sound trouble, though. But either way,
sounds right for me.
But then when we went into the second season, I was like, I don't know if I have it in me. I don't know if it's just like world circumstances or whatever, life circumstances. I just was not in the mood to play that type of game. But then when I see those scenes and I see those settings and how amazing they are, I'm like, I want to be there again. Like, I feel like right now. Like,
even the whistle of
yes.
the Seraphites, I was kind of zoning out for a second, and then I heard the whistle, and it gave me this sense of claustrophobic dread because you hear that whistle and you're like, I need to hide.
It's a trigger.
The fact that they can, it really is. It's like hearing your work ringtone when you're at home, even though I have not worked at this job for 10 years. Like it's that fight or flight that whistle triggered. It was amazing.
You know what it is for me? So, you know how we had, I don't know, just giving whatever. I obviously on the West Coast and we get fires. I have Watch Duty on my phone, which is kind of a wildfire app. It gives you alerts of if there's wildfires in your areas and stuff. And that sound was a lot for me at a certain point last year. going off a lot. And occasionally, I never took it off my phone. Occasionally, it will go off for things that aren't even really that close to me. Just like little spot fires and stuff. And when I hear it, I'm like, what's that? What's going on? How close is it? That's what those whistles are. And they're so good. What happens though if they cannot learn how to whistle?
They couldn't.
Do they get cut out?
It has been 30 plus years and I still cannot whistle.
I wouldn't be able to. I can do a most pathetic whistle. I cannot do that type of whistle. I don't, like, you know, my dad used to be able to do the finger whistle thing where you put your and he tried teaching and I was just doing that.
Yeah, no, we're the people hung up in the rafters with our guts hanging out. They do not stand people like us.
But do they kick out their members? Like, if you're born in it, it's like, oh god, I don't have that whistle gene. You're like,
sucks to be Jane.
You gotta, oh well, you got guts though, so you can do that.
It was a good run while you had it.
Oh man, that's the kind of. Do you remember how you felt watching? See, this is why I think these episodes have been fine for us. Like, I think I said it earlier. I think first season deviated more, so it felt, in a way, more exciting and new. And so the fine turned to good to excellent. Because I think they're very well done episodes. They're very well acted. I believe it. Like, you know, despite all my whatever I say about, like, I wish Abby was the size of Abby in the game, I believe Abby's anger. You know, she's not doing, I'm not saying she's doing a very good job. Bella's doing a very good job of showing that rage in them. And there hasn't really been anything done that I'm like, except for the Amish pride flag thing, where I'm like, I don't really believe that. So there's really no complaints from me, but I do agree with fine. And I think it is because we've experienced it before and in a more intimate way because we were playing it instead of this.
That's a good point. There's no there is, I mean, whenever you're playing a game, it's going to be so much more immersive. So I guess when you take the step back, there's a lack of connection there that it's kind of palpable because you were in it,
right? And
you were the one, your heart was actually pounding. My heart was actually pounding. You know, I have a tendency to stand up when I'm playing a very hard section of a game. Like, I do not do that watching the show.
And yeah, so like they do like trigger the emotions we had in the game in us, but I don't think we're experiencing it as much as a show because I don't know where people are seeing that it's this is the adaptation compared to the first season because I just don't see it.
Right.
And I
don't either.
I think that's the reason for fine.
And again, fine's not bad. Fine is fine.
No, it's a good show. Like, I am not forcing myself to watch this. I am looking forward to Sundays. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, fine is like not everything has to be gut-wrenching. You know. And I already experienced that with this, so I'm okay. I'm fine with fine. I am enjoying myself, and that's all I ask for in my entertainment. Do I enjoy it? Yes. Good.
Right.
I don't have to be like constantly moved by this. So yeah, I think that's that's it for us on episode 5, unless you have any last thoughts.
I don't.
We still had a lot of thoughts for somebody who didn't have a lot of thoughts, I think.
Yeah, that's very true. It's what tends to happen.
I mean, that's the good thing about like getting started on a conversation, right? Like, it's like, and another thing. So that is us for episode 5. I guess, I talked to my friend about like the streamings and stuff, and I think he might start too. And he was making a joke about doing like the like and subscribe and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I've never done that. I just go like bye at the end. So I guess you need a call to action. I don't know. I'm not very good at engagement, I guess. So last week when I played Fallout 3, I typed up on Blue Sky that I was going to play Fallout, like, catch me now, Fallout, playing it right now. I forgot to hit send.
That tracks for you.
And I'm pretty sure on my phone I have a thing on right now, like a half-written message about this that I never finished and never hit send. I'm just going to delete that. So, if you want, you guys, if anybody's listening, you can follow me on Twitch on Space Cryptids here, or on YouTube, you can subscribe Space Cryptids there as well. And I'm also on Blue Sky and Instagram, same names. You want to follow Sonja, you can give her stuff.
I am Spooky Curious on Instagram and Ghostly Reads on TikTok. I should probably change one of those, but that's where you'll find me.
Is it easily changed on like TikTok? I feel like you're Spooky Curious on more things, aren't you?
I know, but I started first on my TikTok. I just never thought it would grow into anything. And then when I was going to make an Instagram too, the name was taken because I didn't think to ever check these things. And now I'm just confused.
Well, the only reason I'm Space Cryptids plural is because Space Cryptid is taken somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I think it was taken somewhere in some places, and then I just like made everything the plural version. So yeah, we do this on Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, this is a coast to coast discussion. We are both on opposite sides of the coast. I generally stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 if I'm not discussion. And then I'm currently on Undertale. I'm hoping to finish that on Wednesday. And then Fallout 3 on Fridays at 3. Did you know, have you seen the Oblivion remake? Remaster, I guess?
I did not.
They did apparently it's very good. And apparently there's a leak that
I don't know if I can get into that again.
Fallout. You don't want like another Skyrim episode?
Yeah, I can't do that again. I can't go back there.
The game I really want that I'm waiting on to like drop in price a bit is the Claire Obscura Expedition 33 game. I heard that's really good. But yeah, that's my Sonja does horror things, all things horror. Books, movies,
things horror.
TV shows. TV shows? Do you do TV shows? Is this a horror TV show?
It could fall under the yeah, I think so. People would argue, but I am so lenient.
People want to argue with everything.
We'll have to save this conversation for the next episode. But yeah, I am so lenient with what is categorized as what.
There are scary moments, therefore I am horde.
Right.
I don't think that's the phrasing you want to use, though. I am horde.
I'm just a whore.
And I think that's where we should end it. So, if anybody has thoughts on how this episode or this season is more of an adaptation than season 1, please let me know, because I don't understand.
Yeah, find Shannon and yell at her.
We can have nice discussions. It's possible. I know it doesn't seem like it today in today's societies, but you can have differing opinion with nice discussions. I promise you it's possible. And let's try that. I beg of you, society. Please try that. All right. That's it. Thank you for joining. And
Goodbye.
until next time. Bye.